Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Salatu salam ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Halim wa salim bikum. Anjarama to my Fulbe community. And this is kind of a short notice. I had something on my mind I wanted to get out. And I wanted to talk about the elders. And because this is a issue, and we have Black History Month, of course, as you know. And this is a good time to talk about that because we have issue among our youth. I don't care about the other nationalities. I'm here in Africa. I'm talking about the Africans. It's not to make a slight on others, but I got to talk about my population, which I know it's the best. I don't know the Japanese population as well as I know my African population. So I wanted to cover some issues here about that. And I want to talk about the correlation between the disrespect for the elders and for our sisters. And here, let's see what we got here today. We have okay, here we go. We got my sister here. Salam, my dear sister. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you very, very much. And my dear brother, how you doing? Marcus, how you doing? Thank you very much, my dear brother. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi katu. Thank you, my dear sister, Moroccan sister here in Morocco. And how you doing? Wa alaikum salam. Shukran jazilan lek. All you guys, thank you very much for showing up today. And I'm a little bit under the weather, a little bit, but that's okay. It's running. It's kind of spreading, and so I'm doing okay. But it's you know how it is when you got kind of like a cold or something like that. And so I wanted to talk about the elders and about this part of Black history. You know what I don't quite understand about this, and I want you guys to chime in on this. What I've seen over the last couple of years is that we have Black History Month in the United States, but they seem to be divorced from Africa, meaning like it's a culture that's devoid of anything of Africa. You cannot have this culture of the African American culture without the African culture in it, because your ways means even your dialect. If you speak English, you still have an accent. I said this 1,000 times. You get a Tubab standing there, he's speaking his own language, is English. Even though we've been 400 years there, listen to an African American say the same sentence or paragraph. He has accent, even after all of these years, because this is not his natural language. See, so we have like this disconnect. And yes, we talk about the history of the pioneers inside the United States, which I've covered. I got favorites for Frederick Douglass, and of course Malcolm X, which I'll hopefully, inshallah ta'ala, I will cover. And our dear brother here, Marcus, King Cam, he just did something on him as well. And he's my favorite from the time I can remember. And I revered this man, and so forth and so on. So we have that. But there's a lot of other things in African history. I may cover on that. We have the separatist movement and so forth and so on. That's important. It's Black American history, because these African Americans born inside the United States, but they were separating and wanting to get away because of all of the not Jim Crow at the time, it would be the antebellum South, and what was going on, slavery, and then the post-slavery conditions, and so forth and so on. So they was trying to make their way to Africa, and so forth and so on. There's those individuals, George Padmore, Martin D. Delaney, and so forth and so on. There's many of these that I grew to love when I was in university. I began to do research and find these people out. That's part of our culture, and we should recognize that. Okay, yes, our dear sister, Black history is very rich and is an important part history of Morocco. She says something very true, and a lot of people don't understand that, because they see, again, we go back to the same issue again about quote unquote the white Arab or the white Amazigh. So you assume that because this is what is showcased, that this has nothing to do with black folk. I live here in Morocco 2 decades. I'm telling you right now, I know the people, even though you may see them light-skinned, but there's indicators of their black heritage, because you may not be able to see the hair, but you see the hair or so. And there's other gentilia. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff here. We can get into that, but I won't get into. I covered that before. And our sister here giving her greetings, and he's returning our greetings back. So let's get into this, brothers and sisters. I'm, Black History Month is in many regards has divorced itself from African rules of etiquette. History, further perpetuated by the 400-year divide between what is African and what is African American. And I wrote this in for full dialect here. This is for our brothers who may show up today, because a lot of them don't speak English very well. And so I'm learning. I still have some problems with grammar with the Messina for full dialect. But anyway, I'm writing now because that's the only way I can keep it going. And by learning it, because we don't have anybody around me that speaks for full. So I have to talk to myself, so to speak. But you, brothers and sisters, this is a situation here. We have this divide. And Black History Month is divorced of what has happened on African continent. When an African American is a separatist, and separatist meaning he wants to separate. Where is he separating to? Is he talking about separating to go to Ireland? No, he's talking about returning back to our homeland. Okay, but here's the kicker to all this. The African rules of etiquette, in my generation, we still had it, of our elders. But the generations following behind us they don't have this anymore. They have an utter disrespect for the elders. Utter disrespect. And so that my generation was the last of it who had this reverence and so forth and so on for our elders and so forth and so on. And let's talk about that, brothers and sisters. And if you guys agree with me or disagree, you think about especially my generation, those like my sister, and then we have King Cam. He's the next generation behind me, but very, very close. And then we have our younger brothers and sisters. But I have saw this now, and even in Africa as well, we starting to see this ugly trend of our younger folk disrespecting our older elders and wise men. See, and this is wrong. And that's why I want to talk about it during this time here, because you can't say, well, this is Black History Month, have nothing to do with Africa. So you go to do things that's against the customs that we knew. My generation, my mother and father's generation, and before it, there was a reverence for our elders. Where'd that come from? It didn't come from Ireland. It didn't come from France. It came from Africa. See, so this is why I'm chiding our brothers and sisters who believe that there's a divide, and this divide is justified as though the African American rules of etiquette have nothing to do with Africa, and that's not true. It has. It's just the generation that's following behind us now, and like my children and my children's children, my grandchildren, they have this disrespect for the elders. And this is going to hurt us, because the education in the Black community, if you guys we have a professional teacher here, we got King Cam here, he could probably chime in on this, but we have a learning disability and a learning deficit. A lot of that is because our elders are not giving the instructions to our younger people anymore. And our younger people will not listen to the older people. They look at us as old and stupid, senile. They think they're doing something that we have not done. When they're 20 years old, they think when I was 20, I didn't do what they did. And so we have this divide, brothers and sisters, and it's very telling. Ours to say respect sports and entertainment figures rather than their culture from their elders. Today, the culture is not built on the culture of our ancestors. Today is built on entertainment and sports. This is a very interesting and set appetite. It's not built upon our great elders of the past. Meaning, in this regard, Muslims, Christians, and Hebrews. We have elders like Martin Luther King. We've had a whole bunch of elders. We look at those people and they say, hey, man, that's history, but hey, it has nothing to do with me now. Hey, man, I don't follow Imam Malcolm. Yeah, I heard of him. I heard he was a great man, but I don't care about Martin Luther King. I don't care about Frederick Douglass. Yeah, that's history, but that has nothing to do with me. This is the attitude. But they can run down the stuff on sports and entertainment figures and rap artists and so forth and so on. This is what they get their culture from and their education from. This is why many of our brothers and sisters, if you throw a map of the United States, they can't tell you where the capital of the United States is. If you ask many of our youth, where is Los Angeles on a map, on a blank map, they could not even show you where Los Angeles is. If you give them a map of Africa, you ask them where Egypt, they could not tell you. You ask them you give them a clue, say where's South Africa, they wouldn't even know where that's at. And this is a sad epitaph. Okay. Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you, my dear sister, for showing up today. Thank you very, very much. And thank you very much, my dear brother. Built on shattered pieces, rough, glued together. I don't know what you mean by that, my dear brother. Please elaborate. And greetings, my dear brother or sister. I'm not sure. Sahara in Arabic means the desert. The great desert here, we have in North Africa, the biggest desert in the world. Thank you very much, our brothers and sisters, for showing up all today. So we have this issue, brothers and sisters, and this is a sad issue, to say the least. We have trained our children to use obscure names like daddy and dad and daddy, then Baba. Now, brothers and sisters, this is an issue why I push this in Black History Month. Because the African, I don't care about where this came from. We know it didn't come from our African ancestry. Daddy, mommy, and so forth and so on. It came out of the English. Now, we don't even understand actually what that means. We know that dad means a man figure, daddy, our father, and daddy, dad and daddy, so forth, mom and mommy. But it doesn't have the reference as Baba. Baba is a term that's used by our ancient ancestors to mean something. You listen to the word Baba and listen to daddy. Which one sounds melodic? Which one has a purpose and meaning behind it? Even if you don't know what Baba is, if the person hears the word Baba, you know that has something to do with respect. We should even incorporate that. We have African Americans say, I don't want to learn an African language because I'm American. Malcolm said, if you were American, they wouldn't have dropped this rock on you and called you out your name. Most of the Tuba races don't call you American. They call you the N-word. So you can't say that you're part of them and so forth, so on, because you are not part of them. You are African, born in America, bottom line. And Malcolm made that clear in many of his speeches. So the term Baba would offer respect to our fathers, to our uncles, to our learned men, and so forth and so on. This is the way we can recapture this culture back. Because now we got gangsters that they'll see an old man, they go laugh at him. They will even run over to him and beat him. They'll even knock him down. When they see the old man or old woman coming out of the store, she drops something, they laugh. Or they let her go. They don't care. They get on the transit bus, they see an old woman come on. She's our elder. Instead of them getting up, they're young and strong, they let her stand there in the aisle. This divide that's happened is killing us. If we have a culture where we disrespect our elders, we have a culture that is corrupted. And we recapture that by bringing back our roots, by going to our elders, especially those who have learned and have learned ways and means. This is important, brothers and sisters, very important. So you've got more pieces of broken ancestry. Yes, it is broken ancestries, and a lot of it is not our fault. We understand that because we've had a disconnect, and we've had a skilled thug, a racist Tubob, who has taught us in our schools that we were monkeys, we were nothing, we had nothing in our history, and then when this uncovered something magnificent about our history in Africa, they took that from us and whitewashed that to make it white. Yes, we have that, and yes, it's not good. Yes, it's true. But now we have no excuses. We have Google, we have YouTube, we have Facebook, we have many things now where you can be brought up to speed on your history. So now we don't really have the excuses we did like in my generation, because we have libraries, but the libraries were very limited. Now you guys have Google. We have all these other means of where you can get information from. Well, alaikum salam, my dear cousin. How you doing? Thank you for showing up, my dear cousin. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I don't know if you guys agree with me on these things, but you chime in on this. And we have trained our children to use obscure names like daddy and dad and daddy. Yes, I still use it. My parents are gone. I still refer to them as that. And I don't mean any disrespect to anybody here today in the chat, because this is the language we speak English. This is what we know. But I'm trying to get something for you guys to get something where you can claim back your history, because we say that we're not African. Then we say we are American. But I beg to differ. You are American. But all the things that we understand America is not you. You're not American. Because if you were, why we have civil rights laws? That's designed to protect you. They don't have civil rights laws to protect the Tubob. They have all these other laws and slavery, anti-slavery, all that's going against you. It was you that had your citizenship ratified in 1965, not the Mexican, not the Japanese man, not the man from China, not the man from Afghanistan. See? So I have a problem when I hear that when the African American says, I'm American, you were born in America, but you are not regarded as American. And bottom line. So we look at that, brothers and sisters, and I'm giving it to you from my vantage point now. I'm outside now. I'm not inside the United States anymore. When you're inside the United States, you know how you can't see things as clear until you go to a mountaintop, and then you look down, you can start to see the city, right? You can see its flaws. You can see the things that are good, see the things that are bad. When you come to Africa, my dear brothers and sisters, the African Americans who truly, truly came here with the intention of being African will tell you the same thing. They start to see things clearly inside when they're inside Africa, the American landscape. And this is a true fact, brothers and sisters. The worst among us today is the gangster who would kill an elderly walking down the street that give him respect. But we'll cover something else about this also in a few minutes. Excuse me. We have, how many times you've heard on the news inside the United States, especially like in LA, the gangsters gunned down an old man in the store. The old man talked back to him because he didn't give them any respect. They should have gave him respect, and they shot him dead. Or an elderly woman was walking down the street. They figured she wouldn't go got her money from the bank on Social Security, so they robbed and killed her. This type of stuff is going on. This is the worst among us today, and so forth, and other hardened criminals. But we'll talk about an issue about this here in a few minutes, inshallah ta'ala. Okay. Now, but have we seen something, brothers and sisters? We asked if our brother Malcolm was still here. You know his story. But some of our young men have seen Muslim elders I know of a case I saw on YouTube, this brother who came to Islam, he was banging in LA. And one day he saw an elderly man walking down the street with a small turban on his head. He didn't know what to make of him. He saw him walking through the people, giving greetings to everybody. He said he never saw a black man like this before. All he knew was that everybody was, the N-word. That's how they refer, the slang. He saw this Muslim elder. So one day he saw him walking again. He asked him where he was going. He said he was getting ready to go to make the we call Salat al-Dhuhr, which is the first afternoon prayer. And he talked to him with respect. That led to other things. So when this elder came out, he would seek him and he would ask him questions. And this elder never asked him, never put pressure on him by coming to Islam, never told him, look, you should stop gang banging and stop slanging dope. He didn't say anything to him at that time. He gave him words of wisdom about Africa and about Islam. And it changed his life around. I saw another brother who talked about the same thing. He was on a bus. He saw this elder speaking Arabic language. He said he was listening to rap music on his phone. He heard the brother reciting something, and it caught his eye. When he got out, he saw this elder, with a kufi and nice clothes, and the way he was a gentleman, he started to talk to him. This is how it starts, brothers and sisters. This is how it starts. This elder brought him back into the community, brought him back to being an African, got him away from the gangster culture, the soap culture, got him away from that. See? And this is very, very profound. Thank you, my dear brother. Yes, thank you very much. Please subscribe. I know I'm very unorthodox. I'm very fiery, but I'm an elder and I'm a Muslim on top of that. So, I'm going to give it to you, even if you may agree or disagree, but I'm going to give you something for food of thought because I am an elder and so forth and so on. So, you have to bear with me on that, but I'm not going to tell you something that's far-fetched. I want you to think. You may get angry with me right now, but when you get off from here and then you start to think about what I had to say, and perhaps it would ring a bell. See? So, but please subscribe. It don't cost you anything, my dear brothers. It doesn't cost you anything. So now we'll get into something else here. What our culture today is to show disrespect to our elders and to our women. In many cases, our sisters. This is the correlation, brothers and sisters. Since we are disrespecting our elders, can we say our younger generation are disrespecting our sisters as well? How many young men you hear today have something nice to say when they address a sister? She's either a hoe or she's a B word, or other vernacular that we use in the hood, okay? And we have this correlation between the elders and the women. The brothers disrespect both. But we go back to something else, brothers and sisters. We're starting to see the brothers from the hood. We start to see sisters from the hood. They get on a bus, they get on a transit, or they're walking down the street and they see a beautiful sister. Elegant looking, beautiful, like this. The brother doesn't call her a B word. He doesn't call her the N word. He doesn't call her a hoe. He's immediately struck as though Subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a barrier between him and her. And he tells him, look, I got this barrier here, and I'm going to keep this barrier, what we call I'm going from 40, let me see. Oh, come on now. A sutra, excuse me. A sutra or a hudud in Arabic language. And I'm going to put this between you and her because she is following the guidance of Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Her beauty is only for her husband. She's neither any of these vernaculars that you use. And we have brothers talk about this. We had sisters who have been, disrespecting their bodies and so forth, so on, walking around half naked, doing these booty dances and so forth, giving their precious jewelry and ornaments to any man who's banging and slanging and so forth and so on. But suddenly they see these beautiful girls who are Muslimas, and you see them in a respectful manner, like this Afro-Arab woman. We got brothers who come to Islam marrying girls like this now. They see a sister like this, and suddenly their culture has changed. When they see the woman from the hood, she's all of the vernaculars and so forth. They have all the disrespect, but suddenly they see her, and they just cannot get her out of the mind. They're to the point they can't even approach her, and if they do, they may ask her a question, but they won't come with any of the stuff that they do to the girls in the hood. We've seen this. And this is what is very fascinating, brothers and sisters, because they start to see beautiful African American, African Caribbean, African Europeans, all these sisters, and they see them dressed in hijab, see respect is written all over them. They have a barrier around them. And so our brothers and sisters, they start to see this, who are outside of the realm of respect, and they've lost the African culture of respect. We still have this 99.9% here in Africa. We still have that. We see women like this every day, all over the place, from Morocco all the way down South Africa. You see sisters like this. You see sisters like this, especially in North Africa, and in Egypt and Libya and so forth. So even here in Morocco, you see sisters like this. They're part black. That's why they call them Afro-Arabs. See, they see this, and they see the sisters like this. She's Fulani. I wanted to tell you that she's from the Gambia. But you see, they see sisters like this, and so they're mesmerized. And I remember I saw this young gangster one time when this man asked him, they did a test. They brought a beautiful sister like this, walked her down the street in the hood. And he wanted to see, the brothers were standing there, four of them were standing there smoking. And they saw a beautiful sister like this in a hijab walking down the street. Somebody walked over to them and he saw like they were awestruck, like something was wrong. And he kept asking questions about, what do you think about her? They did not say the N-word. They didn't say ho. They didn't say any of the stuff like that. They said she's beautiful and she's got class. This is the only kind words they have said all day. Most of the other words are profanity. So, brothers and sisters, I'm trying to show you a correlation between disrespect between the elders and our sisters. It is that correlation. The African culture, once you adopt it and go back to it, you will start respecting the sisters. But our sisters have to earn their respect. You can't walk down the street like the sisters in the hood with their attitudes and so forth and so on, and their ways of dress, sleeping with everybody, and you expect a brother to come to give you respect. He cannot. See? But these sisters can command that kind of respect, and they are getting it, even on the bus. The brothers who are used to getting phone numbers from the girls in the hood, they are shy to walk up to her and say, hey, can I have you? Because they know they cannot. They know they're not even worthy enough at this time. See? They know they're not worthy enough. They know they're not worthy enough to approach any of these sisters. We got some comments here. Okay, here we go. Back. Okay, here we go. King Cam said we must go back to bringing dignified people. Yes. And it starts in the home with the father. It starts at home with mother, with Baba inside the house. Baba has to train his sons. Baba has to train his daughters. When they leave out the house, even they living in Los Angeles or in Dallas or in Washington, D.C., he should have make sure they're at least modest. Yes, we know our children are not children. They say, hey, look, daddy, I cannot dress in this fashion here because the boys won't look at me or everybody's gonna think I'm weird. But you have to put your foot down, Baba, inside the house and say, look, I'm not asking you to look like this, but I'm asking you to be more modest and to cover yourself a little better. And that's how you start to train them. When we dress modestly, that sign is, well, yes, we start to see that. Why do you think in France, they start to go after the sisters like this? And when they went to the ocean, the sisters like this, she want to come to the ocean just to enjoy the holiday, and the police come after her and tell her to strip. You guys know about those cases happened, what, about 5 years ago, right? In France, all these Muslim women, beautiful girls, come there just to, look to, they're there in France. It's holidays, summer months. They want to go to the ocean, and the police ordered them to strip. See, and our brother said true, and yes, well, that's another story altogether. But hey, those brothers are lost. Excuse me. And some people are strange individuals, and Kanye is one of them. Yes, he is. And this is the subculture black man. He's a black man. He's not an African. He's just a black man. He doesn't know what the hell he is. And he's lost. He's got a lot of money, yes, but he don't know what the hell he is. And this is it. That's the way it is. For best, Baba has been great encouragement to me. Continue. Yes, thank you, my dear brother. Thank you very much for your kind words. And self-respect starts in home. Unfortunately, that is not being taught. Yes, my sister here, she's talking again. This is the same formula again, brothers and sisters. How many of us, me included, living inside the United States, how many of us can raise a sister like this? I mean, let's be honest. How can we get her to look this dignified, where she will command respect down on the street? This is something that's very, very difficult to do in the modern times. Yeah. Yes, and yes, our culture now, the athletes are famous basketball, famous football, entertainers, actors. They are the ones today that command all the respect, and they are doing the culture. See, and to be honest with you, if some of those brothers saw sisters like this, they would be disrespectful. Not mean they will walk up to her, but they would just look at her and say, hey, man, she ain't worth the time. And it gets me, here's the more, and I'll get back to this. He's not right. Okay. He's not right. Yes. This is, this is part of the thing of the hijab that we have as Muslims, to start to wear clothing that even the man, we have codes too. There's no such thing. Even though you see in Muslim states today, I get on many brothers, see them with tight pants and shirt, and they come to the masjid like this. I don't like it. And their salats are suspect because they show themselves when they bend over. You understand what I mean? They're not supposed to have that. See, so we have this problem. So we have that correlation. Now we get into the respect here of the prayer. We have brothers making dua. We have Africans who, again, these are young men. They are, going close to Subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so forth and so on. They dress in such a way that commands respect. Yes, I know we can't dress like this in the United States, but before, when I became Muslim, I know I couldn't wear a turban. I wasn't wearing no turban at the time, what we call imam in Arabic. I didn't wear it. I wore a kufi. Even when I got to work, even though they made me take it off, I took it off. When I stepped out of the office, I put my kufi back on. I still kept my identity. See? And when I had the opportunity, when I wasn't, then I would wear African clothing, especially from Ghana and so forth and so on. And I would do that. And this started to get me on my way. And then we start to have the elder father. Now we start to see this with among the Muslims, why Islam is growing tremendously. We got hood gangster sons, and the father finally start to bring them back. The elder Baba is sitting here with the Quran. He's got his two sons here now paying attention to his pops, to Baba. He's starting to pay attention to him. And he's reading the Quran. He's trying to bring his sons from the life of being the gangster, being out there chasing women, fornicating, and getting yourself in trouble, as we all know that happens inside the United States because of the loose culture. Baba here in the center is trying to bring his sons to be respectful. He's starting to get them. Yes, they still have some of the culture, African American culture, with their hairstyles and so forth and so on, but they're starting to dress nice now. Baba is starting to bring them back to being an African, being respectful, so that way he can draw a respectful woman. When you are a respectable man, you'll be able to get a respectable woman like this. And we want our young men to have a good seed. We want sisters who will produce good offspring. But when you banging and slanging, you can't get even possibly to the sister like this, or the sister like this, or the sister like this. You won't get close to her. You won't be able to get close to her. But when you are being trained again by Baba, now you will be eligible for those three sisters. And this is what makes us grow as African people. We start to produce this offspring. We got outstanding young men, handsome young men. We got outstanding, handsome sisters, African brothers. This is what we want. We don't care about the stuff that's going on in the hood, because that's destructive. Now we have a case here, brothers and sisters, where we've had an elder. Even though he's inside the United States, he didn't care, because he was in Africa many years until they threw him out. He came home and he went to an apartment complex. He started to deal with big time drug dealers who had a problem with him. Not because he was fighting them. He didn't do that. He went to the masjid. And even though he said, look, they threw me out of a Muslim country, and I come back home, I'm still going to wear those clothes. So Baba here is still wearing the turban and still wearing the clothes of a Muslim, even in the United States. The gangster here on the left didn't like it, because he was a big time drug dealer. So he went to talk to Baba. And he thought he was going to change Baba. And Baba was polite with him. See? And Baba began to talk to him. When he saw him, he would give him salam. Finally he started to get around to the point where some gangsters one day came after Baba. He stepped in there and said, hey, look, he's a man of respect. When the gangsters finally saw that, they left him alone. This is what we're talking about. Here on the continent, we have respect. We got Baba here on the right. We got the son on the left. Baba is training his son. This is what we have. This is where we have the lack of respect in our communities, brothers and sisters, in African American culture. We don't have this anymore. It's gone. When my generation, it's dying out. We still had that. It's gone now. The follow generations, it's gone. You can't even talk to them about anything. See, and this is what we need to get more traditional codes. Yes, now we have all kinds of stores. You can even order by the internet. We even have African countries now who are exporting clothes back, because I bought it way, way back. to dress modestly and to look good on top of that. Get my brothers on the side. Yes, and there be too into the hood life, too far gone. A lot of them are too far gone, and they can't hear you until Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will allow them to be, to listen. Well, we saw inside the prison, we have a lot of people, gangsters, and others who have what? Have converted, came to Islam after they had done all this stuff, and they start to talk to OG Muslims inside the prison to bring them back. So we're starting to see this. We're starting to see this. Yes, all you can do is do that. That's all you can do is sign it if they are available to listen. I wanted to show you some, brothers and sisters. You see this black man here? Now, if you guys look at him, I know you may not think too much about what you're looking at right now. But I want to give you something about Africans in other places. This is Pakistan. Yes, sir, brothers and sisters. We have an African population that carries mainly the genotype of the Fulani. These guys most likely have it because we know this I forget what the genotype now. The Fulani they got a couple. They have the EM series, but they have LO, which is my mom, and then you have I think it's an R. I forgot what series that is now. Maybe my cousin, he's here. Maybe he could, but we know that that genotype traveled into the subcontinent and Pakistan. We understand Pakistan today. These are Pakistani Africans, Muslims, strong and devout. We have Baba right here. Again, you look at this man, he commands respect. Here he is with the Quran. We sit him down in LA. How many people will come around to sit around here? The gangster will not. But if this same old man was a famous football player, they'd be gathering around him to hear what he had to say. This is why we have lack of education today. Yes, you may be able to add, you may be able to subtract, you may be able to do this, you may be able to do that. But to learn the way how the world is governed, to understand its inner workings, you have to have an elder. Why do African culture pushes this? Because the older is supposed to teach the young. That's the way it's supposed to be. But we have this big defect. That's why we have the problems in our community. This, again, is a Pakistani African. They're down in the South. And if my brother here from California was here, his name Mohammed, he's from this clan of Africans there in Pakistan. They're strong, devout Muslims. And they had a big jihad, very similar to that of the Fulani. So this here, brothers and sisters, I'm showing you how this respect begins, and so forth and so on, to show you that we do have men of respect. Excuse me. And we should honor our elders, Baba, like this. We should honor them. We should be sitting around there. You know, people like this, you should try to make friendships with them, my dear brothers and sisters who are younger, and listen to their wise counsel. You sit around them if they allow you. If you see him on the porch, you go and introduce yourself and you talk to Baba. And Baba will get you educated about how the world operates to prepare you for the next afterlife. We have art cultures in Africa today and so forth. So this is a Fulani family here. And we have this because we don't have this culture, but it's creeping up. We do have some who don't have respect, but they get slapped down in Africa. It's a grave sin. Let me tell you right now, if an elder walks in to a police station and say that a group of young men disrespected him, those policemen be all over you. Not like the United States. Because Baba still carries a big respect. I don't care if it's Morocco. I don't care if it's South Africa. This is where we have this problem, brothers and sisters. the elder teaching our grandchildren. See, this is how we get educated. This will prepare his brain as a young boy. Listen to Baba. Baba's giving him a lot of things, giving him love, guidance. He will remember those things. He will remember the words, these African words that Baba would tell him, regardless if it's in Arabic or if it's in Fulfulde or if it's in Hausa or if it's in Tiv or Igbo or if it's in Mendi or Mendenka or Senike or Sere or any of our African clans. They will remember these words and they will remember Baba. And Baba here with his sons, they're over talking about the Quran because again, Islam has this incorporated in there. But African culture also has this in there. How many of us in the United States do this? This is why I'm saying, brothers and sisters, yes, we have Black History Month. I'm taking time to chide us, to bring us back. It's fine to talk about, Malcolm, Imam Malcolm. It's good to talk about all of the heroes and so forth and so on. But then the History Month subsides and we go back to what we were before. So I'm taking time now to discuss this issue. And the elder again is talking over here, to his daughter, his granddaughter. And she's listening to him. So these are issues, brothers and sisters, that, we covered today. And, I wanted to, to get into this issue and so forth and so on. And, because this is a big, big issue. Now, what I like also is this. This is, again, in South Pakistan. This is an African Pakistani and his wife. They're strong Muslims, brothers. Anyone wants to know about them, I'll tell you, they still ride camels. And they're very exclusive, and they're very devout Muslims. But the thing is, they're taught by their elders. This is the key to us as African people. We in America and the Caribbean, we're losing that. See, we're losing that. And we have this brother here with his beautiful wife. She's Fulani. And so this is what, again, when we are respectful, when we got trained, we start to have beautiful girls like this. And they give us beautiful offspring. Yes, all we could do is shine light. That's all we could do. The city, yes, that's it. City people, yes, yes. And I tell you, it's a very, very, very interesting thing about them there. And I wish Muhammad Khan, I've been knowing him for many years. When I first became a Muslim, he kind of helped me a lot in many things, and he helped me and my family tremendously. And when I came here to Morocco, he's in California, he's always giving me encouragement. And one day when he started talking to me, he said, I know about the CD people. I said, no, I didn't. I said, who are these people? And he's told me, he said, look, man, because he's very, very dark skinned. He said, first time I saw you, I didn't want to tell you, but you look like my dad. Because my dad had the same complexion as you, beard and Ema and so forth and so on. Now you understand why, because he came from these people. See, so it's very, yes, it's great optics. Yes, it's very, very great optics and whatnot. Thank you very much, my dear brother. So, brothers and sisters, I'm getting close to the end here. If anybody chime in on anything, I gave you something from Word of Wisdom, and I'm asking you today to go back and think about these issues here and think about, you as an older man. You're 40. One day you're going to wake up, you're going to be 66 years old. It's fast, brothers and sisters. I'm 70. I start, sometimes I say, wow, you know what? I seem like I was just 25 just days ago. I feel this, but now at 70, you start to have aches and pains here and there, start having little illnesses here and there. You can't run as fast as you did. You need more sleep, so forth and so on, right? But I make this point to say to you that you should gather as much wisdom as you can so you can teach. Make it a point, you brothers, Baba, who is sitting in the house, you will be Baba one of these days. You make it a point to train your children. You make it a point to take your grandchildren, the girls and boys, and begin to train them. Give them stories. They will remember this. My uncle, my father's brother, he used to talk to me. I still remember that as a boy about Africa, a lot. And he would talk to me many things about Africa. And I listened to him. Here I'm 70. I still remember those talks as though he's sitting right next to me today. I still remember those talks he used to have with me about Africa. This is what we have to do, brothers and sisters. This is what we have to do in our livelihoods in order to perpetuate our race of people and to make them grow strong. You cannot take over a country like the United States, being as we are today, disjointed, uneducated, uncouth. Yes, we're powerful. We're most powerful as far as entertainment and sports, but our educational level is still not there. And Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is not blessing us inside the United States or the Caribbean or South America yet. And this is a factor because of the lack of education and the disrespect that we have for elders and disrespect we have for our sisters. Your brothers should get into planning and construct, yes, so that to build homes, yes, and maybe moving off grid in America. All these things, it's, because as we speak today, that those in America, I lived there 50 years. And I tell you, I look back and sometimes I wonder what the heck I was doing there. And it's getting more wicked. It's becoming more and more wicked. This is why the education for Baba is more important today, because we have trials and tribulations in the Black community. We need to get Baba. We need to get the children around Baba so Baba can educate them. Baba may not understand trigonometry, but he'll give them words of wisdom. Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. The mystery schools, yes, and the Senate was trying, or said yes, and language of our ancestors, yes. That's right, my dear brother. We have yesterday, if you guys saw King Cam's program, he did on Malcolm. He recited a couple of paragraphs in in Swahili. See, that's a start, and he did a beautiful job of it. It's a start. You pick up an African dialect. I don't care if it's Zulu. I don't care if it's Ningwala. I don't care what language it is. You take it and pick it up and begin to learn it. There's something to it. Yes, thank you, my dear brother, for that. Thank you for your kind words to him. And this is a big, big factor, brothers and sisters. And I'm hoping I touched the nerve today. I'm hoping that I got you to think and some food of thought about this. Let me tell you something before I close. I had my visions and so forth and so on. And I had the most profound one in 2000. And, I lived in America. I'm in between, I'm African, but I'm African American, and I had struggles and so forth and so on. And then I had this great ancestor come, and what we call in Arabic, mushahada. It's kind of like mushahada is like when you are half asleep, about ready to wake, and these dreams, a lot of times they come true. It's almost like they're there. I had that. It started to change me. I changed the name. Then I was like told about ancestors I had in Ghana. I went to Ghana, and then 2022, I went to Eastern Ghana among the Ga people. And I stayed there with a wise man. I couldn't get enough. I stayed with him till 10 o'clock at night. I asked him 1,000 questions. He started to give me things that were so profound. even though, yes, I had education. Yes, I had my bachelor's degree. Yes, I had an outstanding job, paid me a good salary, so forth, so on, education, so forth, so on. But this wise man, Mr. Kosei was his name. He's now passed on. Start to give me a lot of tidbits about life, history, and so forth. About people and how they are. And like I told you, I walk around in the village with him. I listen to the words of wisdom from him, especially at nighttime. We have dinner, and then we would sit around. What is one stream? We sit on these logs. We would sit and I'll ask him questions, and we'll talk, and so forth, and so on. That was a big, big time for me. Something I will never forget. And I told these stories many times about what happened when I was in Ghana. I was among the Ga people. You remember the Ga people? They were then in ancient Egypt. Look at some of the language, the hieroglyphics, and look at Ga. You see Meta Neher, you see Ga. Ga is wrapped up in it. They still carry many of the words and names that they took from ancient Egypt, or Kempt as we know it. And so profound was his teachings. And the greatest of the mysteries that he told me was that speech he gave was almost about 10 minutes worth when I asked him a question about the calamities of the world. And I've told this many times. And he would, he listened to me, and I start to express it. I see we see babies, we see the airplanes falling out of the sky. We start seeing people being killed for no reason. We start to see police brutality. I was talking about many things. And in shortening, he said to me, he says, man sees unexpected clouds, dark clouds that hovers around him. And then he said, and I'm shortening it, he started talking about, he said that it's one way to be born and 100 ways to die. He said the path of death follows man of all ages. He said, you know that the 7 heavens are true, he said, by leaving things alone. Now, you guys get my wisdom, what I just told you right here? This is what he gave me. These things that we ponder, that upsets us. We see a child is killed, and we see an old wicked man, he's 100, and excuse me for a minute there, brothers and sisters, excuse me for a minute. We see a man who's 100 years old, who lived a life in the mafia. And we see a child that died. All these things we can't explain why Subhanahu wa ta'ala allows this man to live 100 years old and a child to die. And he said, these mysteries, we go back again, mysteries, right? He said, these mysteries here belong to Subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, you leave it alone. Because Subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one to have the answers to this. That night, when he told me that it was real late at night, he told me that, and he said, I'm going to go to sleep now. Go ahead, and Yahya, I'm going to go to sleep now. And I stood there listening to his words over and over in my head for almost about 30 minutes, and I finally went to sleep. This is what we talk about, brothers and sisters, about profound, when you're around your elders like Baba. See, I got this word of wisdom here that helped me to understand, to leave it alone. When the airplane comes down, crashing down, yes, it hurts in a way you try to figure out, but then he said, leave it alone, because it's a mystery that you cannot understand. And, this is a very interesting talk. I honor my mom and father the way they raised me. Yeah, I gave honor to my aunties and uncles as well. Yes, that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. My sister taught me how to act like a respectful female. Yes, in my generation, in my mom's generation, the previous generation, do you know that our black women would step out of the house and they used to wear scarves? I don't know if you guys ever see pictures of the sisters in the 60s and the 70s. That's how it was. When they stepped out of the house, they used to wear a scarf around their hair. Huh? What is that, African Americans? Where did they come from? There's something that you created there. It was handed down from our African ancestors who what? Were enslaved, but it was passed on. My mother, when I remember a little boy, she stepped out, she used to wear a hair scarf. Linda, my sister here, probably will tell you about that. See, so this is again, brothers and sisters, we cannot look and say Black History Month is divorced of African history. I just gave you that correlation between that. I gave you the correlation between the elders and their women. I wrote down the entire quote you just stated in the previous video and plan to break it down with my daughter. Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you very much. Yes, that is something we should ponder and whatnot. Anybody who wants that whole speech that Baba gave me, I give it to you because it's about 8 minutes long. But he gives me all of these words of wisdom and these gems. And he started to talk to me. And I'm sitting there listening to every word that he was telling me and the word of wisdom behind it. And when he started talking about, he said that man is shadowed by dark clouds. And he said that the path of death follows man of all ages. I mean, I'm listening, it's late at night. I'm kind of sleepy, but I'm hearing Baba talk to me. And he started talking about how the ways of death, he said there's hundreds of ways of being killed, but it's only one way of being born. And that path of death, he says, follow man of all ages. These were these words, Baba, word of wisdom he was giving me. That I was fortunate to sit there and listen to him. And it was very profound. And when we think about it, he was right. Because we have no control of things, of calamities that we see. We see a flood that comes down. We see a mountain range that falls down, a heavy flood. People die. We try to figure out why. We don't understand why it happened. Maybe it was a family of their young children and the mother feeding the children and a landslide happened and it took their lives. See, all these type of things, brothers and sisters, is something that has to do with the mysteries. But in essence, brothers and sisters, Africa and in America, the African American, you're not divorced. Even though you may try to divorce it, you cannot. You are part of that. And you should bring back the culture. This is Black History Month. Yes, we talk about the great heroes of the African American landscape. You do this. But you should also incorporate things to you, Baba, inside your house. My brothers and sisters, you have families. You start to get them to sit them around the table. And when you guys eat dinner, you got your daughters and your sons, and they have their children, your grandchildren there. You get there at the table with them so they'll listen to things that you know and start to teach them. Give them words of wisdom. Start to give them things about African culture, about things that happen in Africa. Yes, you talk about Frederick Douglass, but you give them things of substance that will help them to discern. You, Baba, you sitting there at the house, you take your grandchildren, go outside, you walk with them. If you're able to do this. Or you sit at the porch with your grandchildren or your children, young children, whatever, and you talk to them about African culture, about what they are. You start to give them words in Swahili or in Fulfulde or in Arabic or in Lingala or in Zulu. Those children will remember this. You talk, Baba, to your sons and you tell him when you see a man with a turban, like Usman Dan Fodio said, remember Usman Dan Fodio, the great Fulani, Sultan, Emir, a scholar deluxe, the Sokoto, the Sultanate, and whatnot. And Usman Dan Fodio talked about respect. He said, when you see a man in a turban, you give him your respect. He was trying to teach the young at that time in the 1800s the importance of the elders. You, Baba, who you're sitting in the United States today, Los Angeles or San Diego or Dallas or Houston or wherever you may be, Kansas City or Mobile, Alabama, you start to incorporate getting your children, even if you tell them, stop calling me daddy, stop calling me this, that, papa. You tell him, call you Baba. It will stick. They will understand it. And that word has a mystical feel to it. When your children begin to say that, I'm gonna tell you a funny story. Here about I think about 5.5, 6 months, there's one girl I kind of like took like a daughter. She comes to the house, and when I knew her at this time, I've been 2 decades now. She was a young girl, and now she's married and so forth and on. And she's got a family. She just had her first child, and she brought her child over to the house. And it was funny. When she came to me, she said they start to talk to her, and she looked at me and she called me Ba. My wife could tell you that. So we were trying to figure out what's going on, and that's what she calls me Ba. Children are within the fitra until they're taken out of it. Ba has something to do again with Baba, but also she doesn't, she's starting to learn language, but she says Ba. See, so I'm trying to get you to understand this correlation. When she comes over here, I be studying, or she'll come over there. I give her a kiss. She come over, sit next to me. Sometimes I'm fixing food. I get her, put her, and I talk to her, and so forth and so on and whatnot. And, when we played trigger on one day, I put a video, my video on because I have a big old screen. And, it showed me on there, and she was trying to figure it out because she's a young girl. And, she started to talk, and she was looking, she saw the screen, she saw me, and then she pointed, she says, Bob. We start to laugh. So that gave you that story, brothers and sisters, because I wanted to get you to understand something, about this respect and whatnot. And you, Baba, who is sitting there in California, wherever you may be, please sit with your children, sit with your grandchildren, start getting them back. This is the time now. We talk Black History Month. Let's get into it. It doesn't take you nothing. It don't cost you nothing for you to give words of wisdom to those children so they'll have it. So this is, something, again, brothers and sisters, that I'm hoping that you got something out of this today. And as I did, and, and you guys, please weigh my words as your elder and think about those things that I said today. And ponder that. Get with your children. Baba, please, I'm putting the onus on you. You are the head of the house. You, Baba, you sit with those children. Even the boys on the street, you start to educate them. Like one Muslim Baba, he went to a park, he saw them playing basketball. He would go there every day, and he would say a few things to them. To one day, they put the basketball down, and they came and said, well, why we don't understand why you always talk like this. He began to talk to them about many things, to the point where he would come, 15, 16, 17 young boys will come and listen to him before they start to play basketball. This is not his relatives. This is in New York City. And he's a Muslim, strong Muslim, older Muslim. He's like 70-some years old. He would command that kind of audience. They would come around him, listen to him talk, and then they go and play basketball. Baba, you're sitting there, get that type of, earn that kind of respect and get this teaching and all these mysteries, give it to our children. Please give that to our children. So I'll leave you with that, my brothers and sisters, today. And this is a job for you, Baba. I'm putting it on you. I ain't putting this on the sisters. It's you, Baba. It's up to you to train the children. It's up to you to promote the culture and stuff and so forth and so on. Yes, our children love basketball and football, but you should get them to honor and get the culture from you, Baba, not from the basketball player, or not from the rapper or the entertainer or the actor. He should get it from you. You promote that, okay? You promote that. Yes, that's right. When I was in Sudan, this is the case. Matter of fact, and I will have to go because I got to go pray myself. I was in Sudan. All the boys, they had big soccer field in Khartoum. They had many all over the place. This one place is very, very nice. It's surrounded by like beautiful homes, and then they had this big field, and you see kids playing, okay, and the kids over here, and grown playing over here. When their dance sound, because the masjid was very close, the brother would come and they would as you start to go towards the masjid, he'll give you a thing like this of water, so you make what we call ablution, wudu. Everybody go pray, the kids, everybody, the older adults, babas and so forth, everybody go pray. After that, they go back to play soccer or football, as we call it here in Africa. See, so this is it's a funny thing. And in Sudan, what I used to like is in between a lot of the slots, they would get up there and they would talk about things after the slot to get you going. I really appreciate, we don't have that. We don't have that here in Morocco. I wish they would incorporate that, but because it was nice, especially after Fajr prayer early in the morning, he'll talk about some issue, and this is a good thing. And sometimes we even have an elder Muslim scholar or imam come and say a few things. These are beautiful times, and you will remember these words of wisdom. So you, Baba, you sitting in the United States or wherever you may be, it's time now to step up to the plate. It's time for you now to stop this disrespect of elders by you carrying yourself to a certain degree and start talking to your children, your grandchildren, and the kids that you have influence over on the street, wherever you may be. Or you driving down the car and you see the little kids out there playing at on the basketball court, or they're walking and playing in the street or whatever. It may come a time you can say something to those kids. And subhanahu wa ta'ala, with his wisdom, may bless you for that. So brothers and sisters, I have to go now. So I'll leave you with that. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Anjarama.